Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining me for today's tasting. I am pretty excited to get into this new bottle here. Finally got a bottle of my own. We have the Starlight Cigar Batch. So if you're unfamiliar with this is finished in Brazilian Amburana Barrels. And this was the first time that I came in contact with this particular finishing. But lately, I have tried a whole bunch of things that were finished in Amburana, and if you have been here before, you know I enjoy it quite a bit. So I'm excited to get into this one, break it down, tell a few stories about it. Thanks for joining, everybody. Let's kick off the show. Pour there. Let's see. Get that back on there. So with this, I don't have a bourbon Glen to cheers to bourbon, but I'm going to cheers to him here. I got my first tasting of this off of bourbon back, 9 months ago when I met bourbon in person for the first time. And on that week, I went to Michter's for the first time too. So kind of connected the dots. But this is coming out of Starlight in Indiana. Once again, they're finishing it in these Amburana casks. If you're not familiar with the Amburana casks, they are a South American wood that really imparts its flavor on a spirit. For me, the descriptor that I use is Taco Bell cinnamon twists or churros. Other people I hear call cinnamon roll, but that cinnamon sugar note really dominates the bourbon or the rye that this is finished in. But it's also very delicious. So if you like that note, you're probably going to like a bunch of various whiskeys that are finished in this. And I've been really excited to explore it this year. Back in March of 2022 is when I got to try it for the first time. And now come the end of 2022, I'm seeing other companies copy what Starlight started here. I'm pretty sure Starlight was the first one to do this. The other thing I want to note before we get into the tasting, but this is called the Cigar Batch. You really have to be careful when it comes to things marked as cigar batch or cigar blend. They don't mean the same thing brand to brand. So the Joseph Magnus cigar blend, as an example, is finished in Armagnac, Cognac, and Sherry. Dominated by the Armagnac, I believe, on that particular trio. The cigar batch here is the Amburana Barrels. And then there's also a Buzzard's Roost cigar rye that's in cold smoked infused barrels. So if you see cigar batch, cigar blend, it's going to mean something different. Don't imply that it means the same thing as what Joseph Magnus started with the cigar blend. So then for this particular one, this is a single barrel that I got my hands on. The age statement on here is 4.5 years. It is 110 proof, and it ran me, I think, $75 to $80, which has been pretty typical for a finished Starlight product in my area, at least depending on the type of finishing. But I am super excited to get into this one. And then the one thing I want to compare this to, so this is going to be Starlight's whiskey finished in the Amburana. I recently did a Nulu finished in Amburana. Man, was that a good single barrel. So this right now is at least king of my collection, but now it's up against the OG cigar batch. So let's see if Starlight beats what MGP can do in these same casks. We'll break down the nose, go into the taste, and then see if I give it a recommend. Cheers, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining. Oh yeah, so once again, I'm probably always going to say this when it's something finished like this. Cinnamon twist, Taco Bell cinnamon twists, churro, right off the bat. Now this one has a hint of a fruit juice bubblegum hiding underneath that cinnamon roll, cinnamon twist. And a bright note, kind of like an apple. Maybe even a little graininess from the youngness of the whiskey possibly showing through, but I'm gonna go with an apple descriptor for now. Probably a green apple. And I think that mostly describes it. I'm not getting anything off there. Maybe I could dive into spices and talk about maybe peppers and clove, but it's so dominated by that dark cinnamon sugar note that I don't think that's worthwhile trying to dissect it all that much. I think it gave me what it was going to give me there, which was apple and churro. That's pretty good. All right, let's go in for a taste. Cheers again. All right, first impression, taste actually exceeds the nose. Ooh, it's still going. Really good there. So immediately flavorful the moment it hit my mouth, and it's got this rich oily texture that then just carried the flavors through. I'm even getting it still. It's interesting, actually. We'll see if it does this on the next sip. I'm not feeling the finish in the back of my throat, but the sides of my tongue are just lighting on fire with that cinnamon and that sugar and even a little bit of like a red hot kind of note. But let's go one more sip here. Let's see if I'm acclimated to it. Okay. The palate mostly matches the nose. So it's all cinnamon, sugar, and apple. Front of the palate. Mid palate, the cinnamon gets even darker, the sugar gets even sweeter. Now, what I did think was interesting is that there's this nice caramel note that does enter the equation and balances out with the cinnamon. That doesn't always happen with things that are finished this way. Sometimes the finishing can just dominate all the way through. Still getting the side of the mouth sensation. So once again, it's finishing on the side of the tongue rather than the back of the mouth. It's interesting. And then more of that apple comes through on the finish. So yeah, it's just a dance between the apple, the churros, and it's covered in caramel. Not too bad at all. Maybe if I break it down as a food, let's picture a green apple on a stick. I dip it in the caramel, and then I take a whole bunch of churro, and I hit it with a hammer, and then I sprinkle it all over the apple to make a very unique caramel apple, and then I'm biting into that. That works. First thing you taste is that churro. Second thing you taste is that caramel, and then you got the apple on the back end. I think that's a pretty good descriptor. Everything I wanted this to be, I would recommend it. So if you have a chance to get this, it is nice. It's a very nice pour. Now, we'll do the head-to-head. You know, if you see the Starlight, I say get it. If you had the option, somehow magically, at the same time to pick between a Starlight Cigar Batch, a cigar blend, or an MGP finished in Amburana, which one do you choose? Hey, I got an answer for that. Let's find out. Pretty excited to do this little comparison. Just gonna do a little nip here, and then I'll do a little blend at the end. Now, the one thing I will say with the Starlight that I'm expecting to stand out on this head-to-head comparison right away, there is a youthfulness that comes across in the Starlight, but man, did that finishing beat that note down. And I think that's what makes it turn into that green apple note rather than a grainy note. And that I just know off memory I'm probably not going to get on this Nulu. You know, I believe going in this Nulu was either a 5 or a 6 year that was then finished for a month in these casks. So the Nulu kind of has an unfair advantage of having a older profile already. You know, it's just aged a little longer. But hey, they're about the same price. No, the Nulu was more expensive. The Nulu cost me $100. So there's about a $20 difference between these two. Yeah, the Nulu comes across much fuller on the nose. Much darker too. So that apple note isn't present in the Nulu, but it is just more that churro note, but there's something even darker there. I guess it's there's fruits there, but they'd be more darker berries. Man, not quite blackberry. Not quite stone fruits. Yeah, maybe some stone fruits in there. But yeah, just a different fruit profile on the Nulu versus the Starlight. Okay. Very, very similar here. I'm going to go head to head with the Starlight. Maybe the Starlight actually might edge it out a little bit. Gosh, that's interesting. I'm on the fence more than I thought I would be. I guess what's sticking out to me, now I'm curious how long they finish the Starlight versus finishing the Nulu. The Nulu is a month. I'll have to do some research on the Starlight to see how long they kept it in these casks. I think the Starlight, more of the underlying bourbon is actually shining through, which is then sticking out to me and making me want to elevate the Starlight. Yeah, the Starlight's just really good. Proof-wise, these are about the same too, so I can't say that. The Starlight feels considerably lower proof, even though it's not. And then it's got that whole thing about coating the sides of the mouth. And that apple note keeps shining through. And I kind of like it. All right, one more sip on the Nulu. Yeah, the Nulu is really good. I mean, it's everything I want from this finishing, and it's everything I want from an MGP too. I think I'm going to give the nod to Starlight on this head-to-head. Did not see that coming. But I like the fact that the underlying bourbon is shining through on the Starlight. They both have that consistent profile with the churro note, even hitting mostly the same beats outside of the Starlight hitting the sides of the tongue. It's that apple note. That apple note completes the experience on the Starlight, and I'm not able to hang my hat on too many other things on the Nulu, other than the fact it's just delicious. But I'm not able to hang my hat on anything else, and I think that's going to be the differentiator for this battle. Yeah, I'm going to give it to the Starlight. By a hair. Buy them both if you can. If you have the chance to buy each of them and you can only get one, get the Starlight. The Starlight's really good. The OG takes it. Surprising. All right, to finish this off, do a little blend to each here. I'm actually kind of excited about this blend. I do wonder if people can blend with these casks. You know, I'd be interested to see someone kind of blend their way. Like add this profile to something and then add some more flavors to it since it dominates so much. You know, it dominates when it's in a single barrel, but would it dominate when it's in a blend? Can you blend your way out of it? Sounds like a blend again 2023 challenge for me. Ah, blend didn't work. No, blend doesn't work. They negate each other. Ooh, became drying. Oh, why did it neutralize all the sweetness? Oh, regretful decision. I didn't see that coming either. What a surprising tasting. Well, thank you for joining me, everybody, for this tasting of the Starlight Cigar Batch. Man, that was a good time. Well, hang around, check out the channel for some future tastings. We'll keep coming out with them every single week. But I appreciate you hanging out with me here today. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, I'll catch you later, whiskey friends. Bye, everybody.